Hello all, welcome to the next tutorial. So in this tutorial we are going to cover some small topics, but they are important. So let's see today's agenda as you can see on the screen. So this all topic I'm going to cover in this video. So in the operator there are two kind of operator I had missed, so I have taken care in this video, that is membership operator and identity operator. In membership and identity both has two in, not in, and is not. Then we'll see how to write comment in the Python, and that is single line comment and then multiple line comment. And then we'll see about the input output, how to print a variable or a statement in the Python on the console, and then how to take input from the user or keyboard, and then how to give command line input. So yeah, this all we are going to cover. So let's talk about the first membership operator. So I will open Python shell, that is idle, and so the membership operator is used for test the membership in a sequence. So if you remember during the data type discussion, I have told about in the sequence I have covered few topic like a dictionary, tuple, list, set, a string. So these are the part of sequences, or these are actually a sequence of items. So this no in or not in basically used to test the membership of item in the sequences. So let's see with example how we can write a statement for using this operator. So let's take a list1 equal to 10, 20, 21, 32, 33. So we have list with the 5 element, and then suppose I wanted to check about the 20, that it is a member of this list or not. So what I can write 20 in list 1, and as you can see it's a member of this list. So what will happen, it will return true. So it's written true. Now if you want to check about 2000 in list 1, and it's clear that we don't have any value 2000 in this list, so it will return false. So with the list is clear, let's try with the string, and I will check with the hello Python. So now I wanted to check is Python is a member of this string or not. So what I can do, I can write like this: Python in S. So as you can see, Python is a part of this string, so it will return true. Now we'll check about the some item like world, which is not available in the list in this string. So as you can see, world is not available in our string, so it will return false. So hope in is clear. Now we'll talk about not in. So not in is completely opposite than the in. So how it is, let's talk about that. It's actually work in reverse manner for in operator. So let's check, and if it is returned true if an element is not found in the sequence, and it is returned true uh, it will return true if element is not found in the sequence. It will return false if element is found. So I think with the example it will be more clear. So let's see, list we have this element. Now we'll try with the 2000 20,000 that is not a part of this list. So let's see, 20,000 not in list 1, and as you can see 20,000 is not a part, so it will return true, right? Now we'll check with the 21 21 not in list 1, but we can see 21 is a part of this list, so it will return false. Sorry, that was a typo error. I corrected that, and let's see, it's a false. So with the list it's clear. Now we can try with the string is equal to, so we already have s declared. Let's see, so we'll check with the world in s, and as you can see, world is not a part of this string, so it will, here we write not in, so it will return true because world is not a part of that string. Now we'll check with the hello, and as you can see, hello is a part of this string, so it will return false because hello is a part of that string. Hello not in s, right? So I think now membership operator is clear. So let's talk about the next operator, that is identity operator. So if you remember, during the operator or variable, we have explained that we can check the id of a variable with the using id function. So let's see, I will show you how we can check id of list1. We can write id and give list1 as an input. It will see you, actually id is a memory location where the this list is or any variable value is stored. So now why I told you, so I'm going to explain you identity operator, and identity operator basically work on id or reference. So it will compare two ids. So now let's see, let's take a two variable a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. So 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 both of this variable will have different id, but what will happen if all the variable will have the same value? Let's see. So let's see how it is different. So id of a equal to this, and id of b will be something else, right? So both is different. Now let's declare same kind of same value to both the variable. Let's see, take one more variable, that is 10. So a equal to also 10, b equal to also 10, c equal to also 10. If you check the id of all, it will be same. So if you see, all of them having the same id, but why it is? So let's see. So if you see here, this is a location. Okay, let's delete this and I can explain again. So let's assume this is a memory location where the value 10 is stored. Now if I talk about variable a, variable b and variable c, so this all will not have different locations. This all will indicate or refer to the same memory location. So that's why if you see, all of them having the same id. So now we'll talk about is operator. So if, as I said, is this identity operator always work on the id. So if I see a is b, so because a id is same as b id, so that's why this will return true. But what will happen if I give b equal to 20? So So if b equal to 20, id of b will get changed, or it will be different. Now it will be different than a, right? So now if I see a is b, it will return false because both has a different id. Got it? So this is what about the each. Now let's see about each not. So as I said in the in and not in, each not will work in the reverse manner than the is. So let's see about that, because a and now see here, a and b both will have both has different id. So if I see a is not b, it will be true because both has different id. Let's see, right? Now still our c has the 10, so c and a value is same, id is same. So let's see, check a id of a and id of c. So both id is same. Now if I try the same, a is not c, so because both id is same, so this condition is true. Both id is same, so this condition is false. A is not c, so it will return false. So this is all about identity operator. So let's talk about the next one, which is comment in the Python. How to write a comment in a Python. So what we'll do, we'll see here how to write a single line comment and multiple line comment. So what I'll do, I will take a notepad++, then I can describe here. So first let's see how we can run a program here. Let's declare a equal to 10 and print a. And if you remember, I have told you how to run this program. Go to command prompt and go to, then if you see here, it is saved on the desktop. So go to desktop and then we'll call Python interpreter, and then we'll give this file as an input, this script. You see 10. So this program has been executed. Now what if I wanted to give a comment here? So we can write a comment with the has. So this is for printing a variable. Now if I execute this, so what this has will do, this will tell the interpreter, or if interpreter see this, interpreter will understand I have to ignore this line. So it will ignore this one line, and then this doesn't have any impact on the code. See, there is no change in the output. So this is how we can write a single line comment. Now we have to see how to write multiple line comment. So you can write with the even declaring like has, but it's always good if you don't want to give has, or it's always good to follow the standard. So let's see how we can write a multiple line comment. We'll start with the triple quotes. So if interpreter see triple quote here, so interpreter will understand, okay, from this onwards comment section is getting a start. So we can write here this is multi line comment, and then with the triple quotes again this section will get ended. So when interpreter will start this will assume all the next going to be the comment, and when it will get this again, it will interpreter will understand, okay, comment section is ended. So now the actual code is getting start. So let's run this. and if you see, so no change in the output means this comment has been successfully ignored. So this is how we can write a single line and multiple line comment in the Python. Let's see about the next topic, that is input output, and we'll talk about the print statement. So let's talk here only. So if you see here, print, we given a as an input, so it got printed here on the console, right? So what will happen if we'll provide here a blank print statement? So blank print statement will always carry a new line character. It will just skip one line. So let's see how it is. So if you see here, just after the script one 10 has been printed, but now we have given one empty print statement. So let's see, one new line has been inserted, means one line has been skipped, then it got printed. So this is one thing. Now what if you want to print a message here with the a that this is the value of this variable or something like that, then what we can do, we can write this value of a equal to a, right, comma. So now if you print this, it will come as a value of a equal to 10. So this is one way to print a message. Now what if there is more than one variable, and if you want to print like value of a equal to this and like this, I will show you what I wanted as an input. A equal to 10 and b equal to 20. So to getting an output like this, what we can do, if you write here directly two variable, it will give it at the end. So if you remember during the we discussed about the string and its methods, we had a talk about the format. So we can apply a format method on this. So this is a string here. So let's, and then here we can apply format method on this, right? But for getting output like that, we have to make some changes here in the string. So we'll write a equal to curly braces open closed and b equal to curly braces open closed, and we'll give a and b to the format a comma b. Now if I run this, let's delete this is not a Python code. So, and now if I run, okay, sorry, I think it's not get saved, that's why. So now it is saved, let's run again. Okay, so we got output like how we wanted, right? So if you want to see, we wanted like this exactly, and we got output like this same. So this is all about the print statement, and this is how we can format a string during printing the output to the console. We will see some more useful way to use print while discussing about another topic, or maybe we come across some situation, then I can explain that as well. So let's talk about another topic, that for the input. So let's talk about input statement. So now input statement, what if we'll open a Python shell again, let's clear it, we'll open new one. So input statement is used when you want to take input from the other user from the keyboard, okay. So what we'll do, there is an input function in the Python. So what will happen if I give a plain input, press enter, the cursor will keep waiting for the input from the user, and when as soon as user will provide the input and press enter, the input will because this is the interactive mode, so it's immediately got executed. So let's take this one. I think it will be better to see on this. So if I take input and this, let's run it, and if I see our console is waiting for input, and as soon as you enter a and enter, so there is no action defined, so hence our script got exited. Now it's always good to have some message for the person who is giving input. So what kind of input our program or a script is expecting. So let's give here enter a number. So what will happen? It will give a message enter a number. So person will understand, okay, I have to enter a number. Right? Now suppose I wanted to store this input to a variable. So I can do like this, var equal to input, and then I can print this var. Now if I run this, the number 500, this 500 got printed, but input will always take an input as a string. Either you give a string or give integer or float, it's always a string. So let's see what is the type of var. Or we can print also, and then we can print this type also. So let's remove type from here, so we can see variable value and print as well, type as well. So let's print this. So if you see here, input a number, I input some string, and it's this is output, and this is a type string. So now suppose you want to take an input as an integer only. So what you can do, one thing you can convert this as a here if I give as an int, and then if you try, then it will convert into the integer. So this is called explicit conversion, right? It's converted to the integer. But what if I don't want to write here? Then what we can do? Let's see. So what I can do, I can write here int. This is called explicit conversion. And then if the user will enter anything like 5000, it will be automatically converted to the integer because we have applied explicit conversion on this input. So like that we can use for either float or integer or any data type, right? So this is all about the input. And what is the next topic? Let's talk about the command line input. Now we are running from here, right? We are running from command line. Now we can give input through the command line also, like 12, 13, 14 or test, anything, right? But how this input is getting recorded inside our script? So what you can do, there is a module called sys. So sys module have a lot of method that help us to perform all system related tasks. So one of them is argument, that is ARGB arg. So let's see. So import sys, and then I will print this print sys dot argb. So all our command line input will get stored to here as a list. So let's see how it is getting stored, and we'll give this input and press enter. Let's see. See this. It got printed as a list, and if I'm saying list, why I'm saying, see this. We can check what is the type of print or argv. So if you run this now, so it's a type list. Now this ARGB, in what the RGB value will have, it will take at the first 0th index a script name, and then the first input, then the second input, then the third input, and then the fourth input, and so on. So let's see how I can say at the 0th index only our script name is getting stored. So let's print again, print with, I given a string 0 index equal to value this, and then we'll give first index equal to value this, and then how many values we are giving. Okay, we'll try with the 2 only, either we are giving 2 or 3. Second index, and as I said you earlier also, this is a string and we can apply a format method on the string. So format, and then I can give input all the variable I wanted to display. So as it's a list, I will print the 0th index element, and then I will print first position index, and then I will print second position index. So now let's see. So now we have one script at the 0th location, 12 at the first location, and test at the second location, right? Let's press enter. So if you see here at the 0th index, we have a script name, first index we have first input, and second index we have the second input, and it's a type list. So this is how we take input as a command line, and then it's get stored as a list in the sys.argb, and we can operate a lot of method we have in the list, so we can do whatever needed for our program or our script. So that's all for this session. We'll meet you in the next video with some other topic. Thank you. Bye bye.